So it appears the media is back at it in their attacks on Coach Prime as well as the Colorado Buffaloes, because it's really hard to fathom what Coach Prime and staff are doing. I mean, this is a very much unprecedented setup. They have refreshed the roster a lot from even last season, and we're seeing continued turnover. This is the first time we're seeing it. We're also seeing it done on live television, right? They have everything publicly available for people to see. And so The Athletic dropped an article on the 29th discussing some conversations with kids that left Colorado, right? They had a couple players give some quotes with their names attached to it and talked about what things looked like when they were with the Buffs, going through camps, and when Coach Prime recommended a lot of them to hit the transfer portal. Now, I get what you're thinking here is, Jay, you're over here just defending Coach Prime and all of that. Not really. But I do want to point out some things that, to me, make sense from the article, as well as why I feel like it's truly an attack. And the main reason why it's an attack is because we don't get to see what happens behind closed doors at other teams. Colorado's putting this out publicly. Even some people tweeted out through some of this article saying, yeah, this is what happens all the time with other schools. You just don't hear about it. We're going to dive into that. Shedeur Sanders decided to respond to one of those allegations or comments. It wasn't a good look, but I got what he was doing. And I feel like this is what everybody was missing and why he responded. We'll talk about that on the other end. So let's dive into what's been going down with Colorado here on the prime time for college football. So first off, this article from The Athletic, it really breaks down how players have left Colorado and honestly kind of where they've ended up and what things have looked like. Now, you all know when Coach Prime took over this team, he took a team that was 1-11 the year before he got there. I know, Buffs fans, it's a sensitive subject, but we have to talk about that. We have to point out why you saw such a refresh. And so Coach Prime went in, did basically some house cleaning, walked in and said that he's bringing his own Louis, and for some, it'd be best to hit the portal. Well, over 50 players hit the portal. And in some situations, it was players that even transferred in and retransferred out. Well, The Athletic broke a lot of that down. And this is what The Athletic showed. And I'm going to be absolutely honest. I feel like it kind of proved Coach Prime's point, right? It proved how right Coach Prime was and what he was trying to do. He tore that thing all the way down to the studs, and he wanted to start from scratch on the house. Is it unfortunate for some of the players? Yes. Should he have possibly given a little bit more grace and gave some of the opportunity? Maybe. But that's neither here nor there at this point. They went from 1 win to 4 wins. So they won 400% more than they did before. And that jump is what's important if they want to continue to go forward. And so when The Athletic pulled up, this is kind of the stats that was fascinating from said article. I read it. I looked through it, read some of the statements and the quotes, and I totally got where the kids came from. But over 50 players left. And only 15 of them ended up at a Power 5 program. The rest of them ended up either at D2, JUCO, at FCS, Group of 5 schools, which 22 of them hit the Group of 5s. So you didn't get very many of these kids actually going to other Power 5s. Kind of a reason why, right? And the thing about it is that with all these kids going in the transfer portal, a lot of them hit it early. They didn't hit it like at the end in the spring when a lot of teams have already really filled their rosters or they kind of know what they want. No, this was all winter. And because it was winter, great opportunity to go get a fresh start. Not too many of them had the opportunity to. So I'm not trying to bag on any of these kids. I'm just pointing out the fact that not too many schools even tried to pull after some of these players. Well, the article is kind of pointing out even more in detail outside of the players how everything felt like a reality television show. Yeah, Coach Prime is pretty polarizing. That's who he is. That's who he's always been. And his son, Deion Sanders Jr., he has well-off media, and they've been doing that stuff for a while. That's been commonplace for what's been going on at Colorado. And I'm going to be honest, I don't see how people didn't recognize that was how things were going to go. It looked like that from the minute that I saw him go to Colorado, and even my excitement in talking about him before I come over to this channel and continue to talk about him. He's putting everything out in the open. And so when some of the players were talking about in the article that, the recommendation was going to portal, one player decided not to hit the portal and he wanted to stick around and see what happens. And he felt like a lot of it, they overlooked him. But that's kind of why Coach Prime recommended hitting the portal so you have a fresh start, because a lot of players weren't proving what he needed from just the standard field stuff, right? He saw it on the film on the team and was like, no, I think we need to move on. If we want to be able to compete fast, we're going to have to refresh and, like I said, break down to the studs and grow it up, which he's rebuilding the house now. And so when I saw that portion, I was like, okay, that's interesting that they felt like they were overlooked. They weren't paid attention to. And I mean, that's not all that right. But the thing is, someone posted in social media, I can't think it was one of the reporters, I forgot the name because I lost the tweet itself, but he pointed out that this is the conversations that's had at all other programs. This is standard stuff. We just don't see it because everybody's not on social media. They don't do the YouTube thing in which the massive following that Coach Prime and his family has. It's kind of helped grow a lot for Colorado, right? Now Colorado is the villain. They've become the villain that people want to see fail. They're the empire that everybody wants to see go down. It's going to be funny when they don't. Because I think that he has an opportunity to make this school and this team back to what it was in the early 90s, right? In the late 80s. You know, the national championship year. He has an opportunity to push this team back up there in the upper echelon because now there's a lot more flooding into Colorado and people wanting to see it be successful as far as Colorado fans. So from there, you saw that the player talked about, you know, not feeling like he was loved. Shedeur decided to respond. Now, this is what I think a lot of people are missing when it comes to Shedeur Sanders' response to what Xavier Smith said about them, right? It's less about what Shedeur said, more so how. I feel like what Shedeur was doing was defending his dad. He was defending family. He was defending their name because the player said that, you know, he was destroying guys' confidence and belief in themselves. The way he did it, it could have been done with a little more compassion. That I'm not going to disagree with. I think he's right. Could have been a little bit more compassionate, but that's subjective because we don't know what was actually said or how it was done, right? We don't know. We know coaches are tough. Deion's old school. Deion is an old school type coach. So we know that he's not going to play around with you. He's going to keep it a buck and he's going to be direct with you. That's where the difference comes in. Shedeur decided to quote tweet this, and this is what he said. He said, I don't even remember him, to be honest, bro. Had to be very mid at best. Now, personally, I didn't like how he responded, but I understood why. And this is, like I said, I think people are missing it. I really do feel like he was defending his family's name, the family honor, and what they're trying to do there at Colorado. I think that's what he was trying to go for. Now, people are attacking him, calling him poor brat, and, you know, he's disrespectful, and he's not a leader, and all of that. Optics-wise, it was not a good look. At the same time, there's a little bit more emotion in that tweet to me that most people aren't recognizing because I think he is truly protecting his dad. He's talking about his family. And that's kind of why he responded that way. It was less about, you know, the player itself and more about, hey, why are y'all dogging my dad's name again in the media, right? They're trying to do something different. They're doing something in a different way that nobody else has done. It's unconventional. And now we're going after him. And quite frankly, I get why he responded that way. It wasn't a good one. He should not have responded that way. He should have let it slide. I know a lot of y'all say, oh, you know, you slap me in the face, I'm going to slap you back. Cool. I totally get that. If you want to go into the biblical aspect of it, totally get how you want to go. But you got to understand that when some people start talking about your name like that, talk about your family like that, get a little defensive, get a little upset, get a little bothered that people feel the need to come at you that way. So I totally understood why that was his initial response. And so reading what Shedeur said and just kind of how this got, the article was very intriguing, right? It's really intriguing at a good behind the scenes look. And I mean, if you want to be honest, you can take this article and compare it to what's done at Well Off Media and really get a good look and good perspective of what things look like there at Colorado practices and what they're trying to do. So I know a lot of you are big supporters of Prime and you're trying to see the vision like we are. That's what we're doing is we're trying to see what Coach Prime is trying to do and how he's going to get there. And because he's doing it in a more unconventional way, people want to attack it. I think it's wrong, but at the same time, only time will tell if this is going to work or not. So make sure y'all jump into the comments, join the conversation, let us know your thoughts. If you didn't see the article, I put it in the description so you can all read it also. And yeah, We also got a video here if you missed it. We talked about Coach Prime's response to the media. They asked him about, leaving Colorado, and boy, did he go at him. I think you all should check that out here on the screen. Also, and again, we'll have another video for you all. Talking soon.